We are joined now via Zoom by the man who heads up port operations in Cape Town, Rajesh Dana. Rajesh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to your listeners. Thank you for the invitation to participate in this chat today.
Yeah, a lot of people who were, as I said earlier, understandably outraged about the condition of the animals aboard the Al-Kuwaiti were saying that the ship shouldn't have been allowed to dock, that the ship should have been impounded, and they were making all sorts of suggestions out of an understandable anger, but perhaps without any understanding, and I have no understanding of what you as the port manager are empowered to do. So can you walk us through the port's involvement to this? I mean, at what point were you made aware? I mean, did the Al Kuwaiti have to ask permission to dock? So take us back to the beginning of the port's involvement in this saga.
John, thanks for the opportunity of shedding some light on the Al-Kuwait. So, John, the saga started off with a request from a shipping line, or shipping agent, I should say, to the Port Authority requesting that their vessel, the Al-Kuwait, be docked in the Port of Cape Town. The purpose of the docking was shared with us and was primarily focused, John, on providing animal feed, understanding that they were running low on animal feed. They would then also utilize the opportunity of refreshing their vessel stores, doing a bit of bunkering in the port of Cape Town. Over and above the the animal feed, on the cargo manifest, there was also a request to load certain wood shavings, sawdust, and wattle bark, as well as grass and reeds, John. And I'm told that the latter two were being loaded so as to refresh the pens and to make the voyage onward more comfortable for the animals. So, on receipt of this request, John, we have a fixed standard protocol in terms of allowing any vessel in any South African ports as the National Ports Authority. So we follow that rigid and strict protocol, and this protocol includes, amongst others, the fact that we need to confirm approvals from other state entities and authorities. In and amongst these, we had the Maritime Security Coordinating Center, and this entity provides us with the comfort and the approval that the vessel is safe to enter a South African port, critically important to us. Secondly, we confirm the approval from Port Health, and this gives the Port Authority comfort that the crew on board, as well as the vessel, is in good health. And thirdly, knowing full well that this particular vessel was carrying livestock, we also then engage with the state vet. And once again, the state vet gave us the approval. This, together with the fact that we believe that the welfare and well-being of the animals was paramount to the Port Authority, and in the spirit of wanting to help the animals as well as the vessel along this journey, more especially around food, we then agreed to have the vessel docked in the Port of Cape Town on the 18th of February this year.
Okay, so you had the authority to say no, but under the circumstances, you thought it the more humane and compassionate thing to do to allow the ship to dock.
Absolutely, John. And further to that, we also identified the opportunity that whilst the vessel was in port, that there could possibly be medical assessments by professionals on the condition of the livestock on board, and then, where necessary, also then administer the necessary medical care to these animals.
And I mean, to what extent is the port authority, in consultation with these other institutions of state, empowered to kind of impose conditionalities on the sailing out? You can't leave until conditions X, Y, and Z have been met, for example.
John, that was a big topic of discussion during our engagement. As the Port Authority, we also convened and collaborated with various other entities and authorities, as you rightfully point out. And those included, in and amongst the State Vet, the Port Health, Border Control as well, uh, the terminal operator, vessel agent, and very, very importantly, John, we also engage collectively with the NSPCA. And in this was a very topical issue. Should we be setting conditions for sailing out of the port? In the discussions that ensued, the feeling was that our priority should be to ensure the well-being of the vessel and the animals, and ensure that the vessel leaves the port as soon as possible. And that's what we collectively agreed on, and that's what we collectively executed upon.
Okay, now I have received lots of messages from listeners saying that the right thing to have done would have been to impound the ship in some way and insist that those 19,000 head of cattle are offloaded and then that they are put somewhere in South Africa. It seems impractical to me, but it is something that a lot of our listeners feel should have happened or should have been seriously explored. Was it part of the discussion, something like that, part of the discussions that you were having around this issue?
No, it was not, John. As you rightfully point out, that would have been an extremely complex initiative to implement, understanding not only the fact that there would be legal processes that we would have to follow, and also understanding that we would need to have done a comprehensive assessment of the risks of disembarking those animals onto South African land, understanding that the animals would have to have been quarantined and taken care of to ensure and to protect the South African animals and livestock.
Okay, and look, apparently the original intention was not for the Al-Kuwaiti to come around Cape Point, but because of the problems caused by Houthi attacks on shipping in that canal, they took a longer trip than normal. So whether we're going to face this situation again in the near or midterm future, don't know. But is there anything that should be done differently from your perspective?
So, John, the one thing we committed to, amongst all those that we engaged, was that as the Port Authority, we committed to doing and conducting a detailed debrief amongst all the entities and authorities that were party to this vessel call. And we will fulfill that commitment. And we do believe that in undertaking a detailed deep dive into this vessel call, we will learn and we will grow, and we'll certainly be in a better position to deal with this if the desperate need arises in the future.
Thank you very, very much indeed for talking to us. There's a little bit of further detail, granular detail, to use a contemporary sort of journalism cliche. Rajesh Dana is the port manager of the city of Cape Town.